Hey, how is it going? So, I know how much I've collected comic books and how much a lot of people wanted to see them. So, I'm going to do a video about my comic collection. I got a tote for them, and right now I have them all in bags here. So, what I'm going to do is, and I asked my mom about this, like how I should organize them. And my mom said I should probably put the big volume books in the bottom first, since they'll be the heaviest, and the single issues on top, or the smaller books. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through them right now. So let's start with one of my favorites. This is an omnibus edition of one of my favorite comic books from Alan Moore and Kevin O'Neill, who did the artwork. Who I absolutely love. Love Kevin O'Neill. I love his style, and that is League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Now, those of you probably seen the movie. The movie is great, but this is even better. Basically, the best way to describe it, it's almost like literature characters, almost done in the style of like Avengers, but it's more than that. It's so much more. And this is a great omnibus collection, and like with a lot of Alan Moore stories, there's things in between to help world build. So there's a lot of world building with all these characters like Captain Nemo, the Invisible Man, Alan Quartermain, Mr. Hyde, Dr. Jekyll, and Mr. Hyde. Like, it's such a great series that I absolutely love, and I do wish that the movies would have continued. But yeah, that is one of my favorites right here. I'm not sure if you can still get this, at least this particular edition. You probably would. I think I paid, yeah, $29.99 for that, but that is one of them. Sit that there. The other book I got, I'm not going to put this in just yet, but this is one that I really love because I love the Goosebump books, and I noticed that they made 3 of these. Now, what these are is graphic novel adaptations of Goosebump books. Now, they come in 3, so this one right here comes with The Horror at Camp Jelly Jam, Ghost Speech, and Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes. Made from different artists, and I believe one of the artists that usually does work for Mad Magazine illustrated one of the stories in here. I believe he illustrated. Let me see. I think he illustrated the Horror at Camp Jelly Jam, which I like the artwork, but I don't know. Like, I like the artwork in a lot of these. I think my favorite in this is Horror at Camp Jelly Jam and Ghost Speech, as far as art wise. The story wise, all of them are pretty decent. That same with the Goosebump books. Growing up, you realize how some of them are not as good as you remembered, but they're still a lot of fun. So that's Goosebumps, and this is the Scary Summer collection. All right, and here I have volumes 1 and 2 of Umbrella Academy. So I got Apocalypse Suite and Dallas. Now, I love the TV show. I love these books. There's a new one that's out, I believe, that is a collection of tales, and I believe Klaus is a main character in that particular run of the story. It has an introduction by Grant Morrison, who is one of my favorite writers of all time. And Grant Morrison does an introduction for this one, and Neil Gaiman does an introduction for this. Now, these are actually written by Gerard Way, who is the lead singer of Chemical Romance. So a little fun fact there. Now, let's see, I think I should put the biggest ones on the bottom first. So let me go through these here real quick. Oh, jeez. Button. Okay. So another big one I got here is Sandman Volume 1. Absolutely love Sandman. Love the TV show. So glad that there's going to be a season 2 happening. Looking forward to seeing how that's going to play out and what stories they'll adaptate. So that there. All right. I got these ones here. This is an Elseworld story called Superman Kal-El, which imagines him during the time of King Arthur. This is a series called Real Worlds, which are kind of like our world with some DC characters involved, or like in particular, this is about a group of friends that were kids that played Justice League growing up, and then one night they come back as adults, and it's like them remembering how to be kids again and go off on an adventure, like dress up and all that. So this is a pretty fun story. about remembering to, I don't know, about remembering your bet, like remembering. I'm sorry, I'm stumbling on words, but kind of not losing that spark of imagination, even as an adult. Like, don't lose that, sense of fun. So I really do like this story. That one's really good. So I'll set these guys here. Barack the Barbarian, no F's left to give. This is just funny. Deadpool 2099, which is another fun series. Sort of a bit of a joke take on the 2099 run of books. The Boys, Volume 2, Get Some from Dynamite. Now, this I think is out of print because now there's omnibus collections of The Boys comics because of the success of the TV show. Absolutely love The Boys. Love any work by Garth Ennis. Garth Ennis is one of my favorite writers. And that's Volume 2. I believe Volume 2, let's see, has issues 7 through 14. That's what Volume 2 is. Got a really fun one-shot that they did for Halloween called Are You Afraid of Darkseid? This is a fun little collection of short horror-related stories. Really fun. Fun little one-shot. Oh, gotta talk about this one. Okay. This is called... So, this is really bizarre because it starts off as a bit of like a parody of like vigilante stories, and I love the time setting, but then it gets dark real quick. And it has a downer ending, but I really love the art style and I love the story that it's telling about how things aren't always what they seem. So it's a very good book, and it reminds me of something, even though it wasn't written by Alan Moore, it has a very Alan Moore feel to it. And the art style is very similar to like From Hell and a lot of that kind of gothic sort of setting. So that's a really fun series. Okay, this one is fun too. This is Suicide Squad Case Files. And this was made to be in accordance to the Suicide Squad movie that came out. Now, what these are collections of mostly the first appearances, or at least some of the best stories involving characters like Polka Dot Man, the Thinker, Weasel, Mongal, King Shark, and who else? Oh, and Amanda Waller. So a lot of these are like usually first appearances or some of their best stories. This is really good. I actually really love. Is this one that has Bloodsport in it, or is that another one I'm thinking of? Yeah, it does. Okay, so it has Bloodsport, King Shark. I can't believe I zoned out on that. Oh, and Peacemaker too. So this is basically like a lot of these guys. I know there's another set that has the other members of Suicide Squad, including Blackguard. But this is really good. Venomverse. Spider-Man's got his Spider-Verse, so why not Venom? Some of these I've read, some of them I haven't gotten a chance to read, but definitely. Oh, this one's really good. Happy. Love the TV show. Wish they would have continued for season 3. I don't know if season 2 is available. I think they filmed it, and it might be available for streaming, but yeah, this one is really good. Again, written by Grant Morrison, who I absolutely love Grant Morrison's work. All right. Here we go. Marvel's Zombie Christmas Carol. Marvel loves their zombies, and this is no exception to them doing this very horror take on a Christmas Carol involving zombies. It's a really good story. And about how Scrooge stops the zombies' hunger and how he, basically stops the zombie plague and all that. It's really good. This is a really fun story. Any variation of A Christmas Carol, I'm absolutely on board for. All right, and we have Batman: Reign of Terror, another Elseworld story. This one, I probably will read this one soon. I know I love reading like the Victorian era sort of idea of like what if these characters existed during the times of like this. And I read one which was in the Elseworlds annual where Batman's a pirate. That's not this story, but there's another one where Batman's a pirate, and that's a really good one. Oh, and we have the official comic adaptation of Steel. I don't care what anyone says. I think Steel is a fun movie. Would there be some stuff I would change about the actual movie? Yeah, absolutely. But this one's a pretty fun adaptation. One second. All right, and we got Night Watchman Graveyard Shift. This is cool. This is basically almost done like in Frank Miller's Dark Knight Rises, or Dark Knight Returns comic. It is really good. It's meant to be a take on the '90s, return or resurgence, or like the late '80s resurgence of like characters. This is from Big Bang Comics, which I absolutely love. Big Bang Comics. I don't have a lot of their books. In fact, this is actually the first book I ordered, but I love their idea of taking like their own variations. Like they do their own archetype of like Plastic Man, or their own Batman, which is Night Watchman. Where it's like them reliving like the golden age of comics, or doing comics that were done like back in that time. This one, I've read a little bit of it. I definitely want to put this aside to read more of, so I'll try to leave this one on top, or when I go through a lot of these, to definitely read that one. But this one is really a really interesting read. All right. And we got Blade 2, the official adaptation. Haven't read this one. Love the Blade movies. I'm not too familiar with the Blade comic books or Blade's stories from comics, but definitely want to be more involved with that. Oh, and Moon Knight. This is volume 1 of, I think, one of the newest runs of Moon Knight. But yeah, definitely love the TV show, so that's why I wanted to get this, to get like a sort of idea of where to start with Moon Knight. And they say that this particular run is good, is a good starter. It's got issues 1 through 6, and yeah, this is fairly new from 2021 of Moon Knight. All right. Now, going to go through some of the single issues. All right, some of these are not in bags, but again, we have this one here, which is Dark Horse Heroes. We got a Batman story written by Doug Moen, who wrote a lot for Batman. We got Hitman. Love the Hitman. We got Hitman Annual. This one isn't written by Garth. Oh no, this one is written by Garth Ennis. Okay, cool. So this is a definite read for me. Like I said, I love Garth Ennis' characters, and Hitman is one of my favorites. So we got him. We got a Valiant comic here. We got The Visitor. All right. Primal Force. Oh, and this one I wanted to get because they did this character before for the Peacemaker show, or they did like an amalgamation of a lot of them, but this is Suicide Squad. I believe his name was William Hellman, I think, who was a racist that posed as a superhero and tried to say like, oh, well, I'm harsh on all criminals, but really he just uses as an excuse to beat up people of color or people of different religions. So basically he's a racist posing as a superhero. The Suicide Squad really damaged his career really well, to the point where he ultimately becomes the White Dragon later, which was adapted in the Peacemaker TV show. But this one is a pretty good read, a very solid read, and first introduction of that character. Got another Hitman one here. This one's a little damaged, but I think I only paid $1 for these. My whole thing is I normally don't like to get dollar comics when they're not in sleeves or when they're damaged, but if the price is right, then I definitely will get them. I'm very particular when it comes to that because I also don't want the comics to get too messed up. I think for these guys, I'll set these aside right here for now. All right, here we got Joker's Wild from Tangent Comics, which is officially part of DC's universe or one of their offshoots of their multiverse. And in this, they did the Joker as a woman who's actually a superhero. So there's that one. And here we have the Hellblazer from DC's Rebirth line, which I've collected, and I had issues 1 through 6. I'm not sure how long this particular run was, but definitely want to get to reading these, at least these first 6 issues, with one of, I think, an underrated DC character, John Constantine, the Hellblazer. All right, this one is, just 2 issues in this one. We got the first issue of Sandman. It's a reprint to coincide with the TV show. And yeah, this is a reprint done exactly like as it was. So this is really cool that they did that. Like, with the original advertisements and everything, the old school ads. It's so crazy. It's like a time capsule of when it was first released. That's what I think is really cool about that particular one. And I got this one to get a little more familiar with the character because of how he's going to be involved in the main universe, and that is Timeless, featuring Kane the Conqueror. And I'm not sure if there's more than just this issue, or if this is just a one-off. I think it might just be a one-off, but definitely wanted to get it because I definitely wanted to read more on Kane. That's that one. Just throw that one away. I got some more single issues here. We got... Ooh, okay. We got a early special edition of Moon Knight, one of his earlier appearances. We got a Hellraiser comic. Love Hellraiser. I believe I started reading this, and I think there's... So these were part of an anthology. A lot of these were anthology stories, where they were single, one-off stories about, things to expand Clive Barker's universe. A lot of creative stories in these. Some very crazy graphic tales. Okay, so mainly it only has one offshoot story, and then it has a continuing series, which kind of sucks because I don't know the other parts, but I read it just for the first story in this, which I really enjoyed that. Trying to put it back in here. There we go. All right. Get into the other ones. There we go. These ones I picked up at a local convention, which happened here in Puerto Rico. We got issue 0 of Flashpoint Beyond. Oh, then we got this Dark Knight's Death Metal Multiverse End. There. Really cool. Then we got this one here, which is a... Hopefully that didn't get too messed up. Okay, it's fine. We got a Tales from the Dark Multiverse, Batman Hush. Love Hush, love the story of him, and I love any sort of offshoot or variation on a darker version of Batman. And that's what this one is here. So, there's that. We got the Multiversity, which is a sort of look at the multiverse, kind of like a beginner's map to the different universes in DC. And this one here, okay, this is the first issue. And this is Cosmic Neighborhood Watch. We have this one here from Multiversity, and then we have the guidebook. So the guidebook is really good because this is basically like, knowing the different worlds with a couple little stories in there. This is basically a beginner's guide to the multiverse and all the variants. Actually has a guide and list of all the different Earths and some stories there. So it's very much a beginner's guide. So, yeah, be a lot of fun to read that one. I believe that there was a compendium book of this, but I didn't see it there, so I collected the single issues with a lot of the stories and all that good stuff. And here we have JSA, Just Society of America All-Stars, that features the different versions, like the newest version of Mr. Terrific and the earliest version of Mr. Terrific called Fair Play. So, very cool read that I want to get into. And here I wanted to put this up because I just had to. I had no idea. I knew of Ren and Stimpy comics, but I had no idea that they did a mashup of Powdered Toast Man fighting Spider-Man. I just couldn't pass that up. I had to pick that up, so there's that. And here we have when Clive Barker actually did his run of creating superheroes. So this is from the Superheroes from the Mind of Clive Barker. So I'm very curious how he does his superheroes and like his writing when he's not writing Hellraiser. So I'm very curious about that. Ooh, got a lot here. All right, here we go. So we got issues 1 and 2 of Gunfire. Character didn't really last too long, but I could see James Gunn using this character for maybe Peacemaker. Got an Elseworlds Batman, which has ties into Leonardo da Vinci. Again, I love whenever they do period pieces like that. Power of Shazam. Elongated Man. Oh, and just imagine Stan Lee creating the DC Universe. The Flash story, which is right up there with one of my favorites of how he did his variation of Flash. We got the Reverse Flash Reborn. This was a one-off issue that showed Jeff Johns and his take on reinventing the Reverse Flash as a villain, and I love like his take on that character. A couple issues of Vigilante. I think the very first issue of Vigilante, and the very last issue of Classic Vigilante. And then I have this one, which I think I might have all of them. Oh yeah, well I know this series was discontinued because they only did 6 issues. So I got issues 1, 2, 3. Oh, I think I only have issues 1 through 3. I don't have the rest of them. But I got another Vigilante. Got an Elseworlds of Steel. I really love this Elseworlds story. This was really cool. Got another Elseworld. This one is of Batman, Shadow of the Bat. The Tyrant. Really good. Got some Image comics here. Let's see. Got Pit. The Max versus Pit. Got Jim Lee's Death Blow. Okay, got Twilight Zone, the first ever all-computer issue. Now, I actually made a mistake. I have another copy of this. So I think if I have a duplicate of any comics, what I plan to do is hold them off and probably resell them somewhere. I got some of the Ravage 2099 comics. The very first issue, and I'm not sure which issues are these. I think these might be the later ones, but yep. Ravage 2099. Oh, this was a fun series. This is classic stories from the Golden Age of comics, featuring Plastic Man, Wonder Woman, Superman, and Batman. That was a pretty fun read. Oh, got Neil Gaiman's Mr. Hero. see, we got issues 1 through 3 of Mr. Hero. Haven't read these yet, but I definitely love Neil Gaiman's work. Got a Thrill Killer 62 Batman and Batgirl Elseworld story. And I believe this is a sequel to that. I don't have the first Thrill Killer. Got another really good one. This here is Giant Green Lantern Annual, 80 pages. Okay, here's the rest of the Hellblazer series. Or some of them. Yeah, I see. Here's the other one that I got that I made the mistake that I had two. Oh, I gotta be careful because I got some original artwork here from the convention. So that I am going to put up here for now. So I'm going to show you from this artist that I got these prints they did. This is Wolverine. Here's a Hellboy one that I really like. And here is Superman and Darkseid. Really love that one. Okay, but this is the one that... It's a different cover. But it's the same story. That's the thing. It's the same story. So I'm definitely going to put this aside to resell it. But there's that one. And here is... here we go. All new Superman. This is the Superman of China. Which that was pretty fun read. I never got to finish it because I never got to collect all the issues of that. But I think that this is now available in a volume book. Okay, so now we're getting into the books that I picked up at the convention. So I'm going to try to do a speed run of this. So here we have Batman Year 100, which I've read before. I never owned this, but I remember reading this at a bookstore, but I never picked it up to buy it. But this is a really fun story. Imagines takes place in the year 2039, and a new person, becomes the Batman, and it takes place in a world or in a future where there's no such thing as privacy. Everybody knows who everyone is. Their information is all full on display, except for this guy. No one knows who this Batman is. And Jim Gordon's great-great-grandson is new police commissioner, and it's about this Batman solving a murder. And that's the thing that's really cool, because it's not Bruce Wayne. The story's not about Bruce Wayne Batman. This is a new guy that becomes Batman, but it's more about the ideal of what Batman represents, the mantle of Batman. So this was a pretty interesting read. It was very unique. It had this very almost Judge Dredd kind of vibe about it, in this dystopian future, and also the art style is like that, and just a really interesting read. So that was really good. Gonna set that right here because, as it turns out, I actually have some pretty big volume books here that have to go on the bottom. So let me grab these. So, have The Boys, Omnibus Volume 1 and Volume 2. Now these were on sale. I can't remember how much these were because they're slightly damaged books. Okay, yeah, so these were both $8 actually. So $8 from its normal asking price of $30. Definitely a good deal. So slightly damaged, but it's totally fine. So here's Volume 1, here's Volume 2. And yeah, so this shows what stories that these come with. So this collection here has issues 15 through 30 and includes the stories Good for the Soul, I Tell You No Lie, GI, We Gotta Go Now. And this one has issues 1 through 14, which has the name of the game, Get Some, Cherry, Glorious 5-Year Plan. So that's that. Boys, volumes 1 and 2. Alright. Oh, and here we have Batman and the Signal, which somebody suggested to me when I put this up at a comic store when I was traveling, that since I'm a big Batman fan, that should check out this series where Batman trains this new protege that actually goes off and becomes a hero of his own. called The Signal. Now, The Signal actually is like very detective style, and like how he works during the day, like he is a hero of the light. So, pretty interested to read this. I'm gonna start on that as soon as I can. All right, so here we have some of the single issues I picked up, including The Authority comic. Got a oh yeah, because this I was curious about this series, Martial Law, from Epic's comic, which I believe used to be an old imprint of Marvel Comics, but it's no longer around. And it looks like this is issue 2. But I'm very curious because I love superhero deconstructions, and this is one of them. Here we have an Elseworlds annual, and this one is of Justice League International. Looking forward to reading that one. And these I got picked up from the convention because they had a thing, if you scan your code, like scan your ID badge, you get a free comic book. So got this one. And got this one here. My dad had to scan his to, pick up another one. So got these two. And then we got Batman Madness from Jep Loby, who was there at the convention, but didn't really get anything signed. I thought about getting this signed by him, but didn't do it. Okay, and here we have Judge Dredd Volume 2 for $5. Not a bad deal. And MODOK Assassin. MODOK in love. No, not with himself. So I think this will be a fun read because I definitely want to know more about MODOK. And from my read, they said that this is a very fun, take on the character and just a very fun story. So definitely look forward to reading that. And I love Judge Dredd. Big fan of the Judge Dredd comics. Okay, so I think that does it for a lot of the volume books. I think I could be wrong, but just in case I'm not, I want to go through some of these. I think I'll set the Goosebump books on top of the Superman ones, just to be safe, or maybe move these ones around. Okay, so here we got another Elseworlds annual. This one is of Deathstroke the Terminator. Love Deathstroke, one of my favorite characters, one of my favorite villains, anti-heroes, whatever you want to call them. So I'm looking forward to reading this. So I have that annual. Got a Tales from the Crypt comic. Had to get Tales from the Crypt. Curious as to which stories this has. Then we got the Boz Chronicles, another line from Epics. And then we got The Fly. Not Jeff Goldblum's Fly, this Fly from Imprint Comics. Squadron Sinister, which was like Marvel's take on the Suicide Squad from what I've been told. We got Resurrection Man, a very underrated character that not many people are familiar with, where he's a character that he dies, and every time he dies, he comes back with a different ability. And here we have Moriarty, the Lazarus Tree. Interested in that, if it's Moriarty talking about Sherlock Holmes Moriarty. We got, a cool one-shot story called The Guardian. I'm not familiar with The Guardian. I'm not sure if it's similar to what they did with him in Smallville. Or, no, not Smallville. With the Supergirl TV show. So that one I'm interested to read. So that one I will definitely put on top for reading. Where did I set? I'll set this up here for now. Like I said, just trying to organize everything. All right, here we got. We got a couple Cable comics. Love Nathan Cable. This one's a pretty big double-size issue. So there's that. And here we have the Spider. Oh, and Death-Defying Devil from Dynamite Comics. We got a issue 56 of The Boys. We got Elseworlds Annual, Legends of the Dark Knight, Citizen Wayne. We got a Elseworlds Annual, Superman in Action. We got an Elseworlds Annual of Green Lantern, which looks pretty intense. We have Batman, Judge Dredd, The Ultimate Riddle. I absolutely love crossovers, so I'm looking forward to reading Batman and Judge Dredd, seeing how that goes over. All right, and then we have this story. This story I've read and I absolutely love. This is when John Carpenter wrote for DC, and he wrote in particular a story for the Joker, and this is absolutely cool. Like, John Carpenter really gets the Joker nailed in right, and like Joker's obsession with Batman, like really crazy good story. All right, so got a couple more here. All right. Oh, got a Booster Gold. That was then. Yeah, for those who don't know, Booster Gold had a really good friendship with Ted Kord, Blue Beetle, which is very sad because, you know, what happens to Ted Kord, and it's like their friendship and all that is really cool. And here we have a Dr. Fate comic. Oh, and one of my favorite superheroes growing up, Zorro from Dynamite Entertainment Comics. I think my favorite comic company outside of like DC and Marvel, I definitely got to say Dynamite Entertainment. Dynamite Entertainment, you know, pulls out all the stops. Really does some great stories. Takes a lot of like these old the old public domain superheroes and really gives them new life. Then we got a Legion comic that features Lobo. Ooh, we got a Darkman comic here. Love Darkman. Got Newman. I got this because I wanted to see, because I remember watching an old Top the Fourth Wall video about this, and I was just curious, like, you know, the artwork and the story, and that's like how insane it is. And I think this was made. I think was this Rob Liefeld? Yeah, probably. We got Checkmate. Oh, Keto Origins of the sidekick from Green Hornet. Ooh, Death-Defying Devil and the Flame. The Shadow, Year 1. 1985 from Mark Miller. Solomon Grundy versus Poison Ivy. Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday. Motormouth. Another Shadow comic, The Shadow Strikes. The Spectre. Elseworlds Annual Superboy in the most 90s look I've ever seen. Here we go. This one was a prize. Army of Darkness, Shop Till You Drop Dead. Namor the Submariner. All right. I think I do these. Okay, cool. All right. Next line. Well, not too many of this one. Definitely got to save a lot of these cards. Here we have Doom Patrol and Hawkman. Alright, did these ones already show? I don't know if I did or didn't, but yeah, I think that's all of them. I got a lot of comics, as you can tell. No, I didn't show these, but I'll breeze through them. So we got a Deathstroke the Terminator with the second iteration of Vigilante, which Vigilante was a woman during that run. We have a Predator comic. Oh, Predator versus like a lot of their Dark Horse heroes. So a lot of their own original heroes. That's cool. JLA Shogun of Steel, which imagines the Justice League in feudal Japan times. Max the Inebriated Rabbit from an independent artist that I picked up at a convention a long time ago. First 3 issues. Oh, I love this. This is the New 52 Futures End. The Phantom Stranger. We got Day of Vengeance as part of the Infinite Crisis lineup, where somebody else had to become the new host for the Spectre. We got Smash Comics presents Our Man and Dr. Midnight. Power Pachyderms, which was Marvel's parody take on the X-Men while also making fun of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We got Green Lantern and Johnny Thunder in All American Comics. Now, this is part of the lineup when they did the wanting to do the Justice Society of America. Here we have Superman, The Dark Side, which is an Elseworld 3-part book, and this is all 3 volumes where it imagines Superman's ship about to crash land in Smallville, but it gets intercepted by a boom tube, and Darkseid raises Superman to be his children to join his side. That's pretty intense. So definitely want to read that. We got All New Warriors. This is part 1, and read that. Oh, I read this one, and I just wanted to get it because I was curious about owning it. This is Batman Holy Terror, which basically is like, imagine V for Vendetta, but with Batman in the lead role. And here we have one shot of Commissioner Gordon. I haven't read that yet, but interested to read about Commissioner Gordon, like a story following him. We got Talon. We got from the pages of JLA, this is part of their New Year's Evil line, Prometheus. Here we have The Kingdom, Kid Flash. And Annual 1966, The Flash. Armageddon 2001, Superman, which I've read that one. That one's really good. Adventures of Superman, Elseworlds Annual. Real Worlds, Superman. This is a really good story. It's actually tragic, but it's a very good read. We got Superman, A Nation Divided, Elseworlds story, which imagines Superman during the Civil War times. We got Elseworlds, Superman. Now, this one I've read, and it's really good. It's a take on the Jungle Book. Like if Superman crash landed in the jungle and was raised by the animals. It's very much heavily inspired by the Jungle Book. I think they even took inspiration from the original story. So this is a really good read. Read that one. We got Super Patriot, and this comes with, I think, the first 4 issues of Super Patriot, part of Image Comics. We got Doom 2099, which I read this story, absolutely love it, and I love the holo foil. And I love this. I think out of all the 2099 books, I really love this one. I love the story of that. And then we have an Amalgam comic, which I love collecting Amalgam comics. Now, I don't have them here, but I have them back in my house in Missouri. This is Generation Hex, which combines the X-Men, like Generation X, with Jonah Hex. So that's a pretty bizarre read. Now, the Amalgam comics was a line when DC and Marvel did this experiment when they started doing their big mashup, where they decided, like, well, let's do a run of, combining our characters. So they created, like, taking Captain America and combining him with Superman, creating Super Soldier. Or Wolverine with Batman, creating Darkclaw. Which Darkclaw was great. Like, a lot of these were pretty cool. Some of them were a little not as good as the other. Like Iron Lantern was one that was a little iffy. Which, imagine Green Lantern and Iron Man. But yeah, that is all the comics I have. So now I am going to organize these bad boys. Excuse me. So I'm going to organize these bad boys, put them in this tote, and get started on reading a lot of the ones I haven't read. But like I said, the only comic that I seem to have a duplicate of is this one. And this one I probably will give away. The reason why, because I didn't know there was a variant cover. So this is the variant cover, which looks pretty neat. The other cover I like because it's a little more cartoony, but this one I'll give away. I probably won't be able to sell it for much because it's not in a great shape, but that's okay. I'll probably just give it to one of my nieces and nephews, or I don't know. But there's that one. But yeah, anyway, that's my entire collection as of here in Puerto Rico. I do have more back where I used to live in Missouri, so I have to film that whole collection there too. But anyway, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. So till then, I'll see you guys later.